We are recording, so let's start with what's your favorite horror movie, man?
Okay, the most common one I would say my good favorite horror ever get caught, and also how witches can make somebody do what they people control their bodies and control their dots, make them
Yeah,
become what they are, and also a coven.
yeah, exactly. It's, it's a creepy movie. And just you really think about it, and I mean, again, if people haven't seen that movie, we recommend that movie big time. It is a very it can be a disturbing movie, and it's a movie that honestly you don't see a lot of stuff coming. So, without don't want to spoil anything because I'm pretty sure probably a lot of people haven't seen that movie. So I won't say what really happens in the movie. But yeah, my favorite movie is The Thing. That's my favorite horror movie. I honestly I do feel like this is an underrated movie. I feel like this is a movie that a lot of people don't really know or talk about.
If you ha-
To be honest.
if you ask me, dude, I kind of hate how back then when it was released, people did not appreciate the movie because it was trying to, it was like the idea about before we had the Among Us, we had this way, like how can you tell this one's a fake or the real one?
Yeah, it's
In 80s and 90s horror movies is that they were just, using practical effects, using sound effects and their own theme musics. For example, like you have okay, their own soundtrack with that almost every film except part 4, that that Pinky Binders song. Then you have
yeah,
Chucky with his own theme, And for Michael Myers, we know he has theme song.
Yeah.
Like you have type iconic moments.
Yeah, and it's like music. When it comes to music or a theme, people don't understand that music is part of a movie. That's like literally, if anything, it's like the heart of a movie. A movie without a good score is not a good movie. Score takes, it's part of a movie. That's a lot for a movie. That's what I'm trying to say. And to be honest, that is something that has been lacking when it comes to a lot of movies. I feel like a lot of movies now, they're made because of that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's the problem I hate about the Conjuring movies, is that they're so damn like lame, and not to mention it always feels like the same thing. Demon and goes. I'm like to New Line. Enough with the Conjuring universe and just freaking bring us back Freddy Krueger, because Freddy Krueger was the one who brought the New Line cinema money back in the 80s, not Annabelle or the Nun. They're just bunch of Halloween decorations and going to do nothing.
Yeah, the Nun was it was disappointing to me. It was just a movie that, I when it comes to a movie, in my opinion, you gotta have meaning, to everything. Like it's like scenes should have a purpose, and ending should be there for a reason. Just don't make a movie and just have like jump scares. Just
Mm-hmm.
that is on that era, because if you don't do that, then what's the point of making a movie based in the 70s or 80s or 90s if it's not gonna feel like that?
Yep, and not to mention, dude, is that do you think that's interesting about how when Netflix were making their version of the Fear Street, trying to go rated R, and they're being like how back then in the 70s, the late 70s, and in the late 2000s and mid 2010s, is that we had these movies that take different time periods for a story, and also what you need is some coloring environments to feel like we're in the part of the story, not just ew, we got oversaturated blue filterness. No, it's about, I mean, each decade has their own coloring and bunch of how it should be like.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're 100%. You know, it's that's just, again, we're missing we're missing the magic when it comes to horror. Ghostbusters just did that, you know. They did that, whatever that came out in 2016. They erased that shit out of, you know, everything, and they made Afterlife, which was a true sequel to Ghostbusters, you know, and it was a great movie.
What 2016?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, dude, like, what I like about when Chucky series is that they're trying to go something beyond, you know, PG-13. They're going MA, like how they can get the limits, doing the kills, doing the swearings, and also how they can make new originalityness. Not this, you know, like, you know how back in 2014 to 15 that we had Scream, the series, but people didn't like the new design of Ghostface because it was just like not the real Ghostface. But
Yeah.
also,
I mean, don't get me wrong. That, in my opinion, that series has some good stuff. I mean, I feel like there was I think there was a couple seasons that were not bad. You know, even though the Ghostface was different. I don't remember. You might be right. I don't remember which season was the one that was actually really good. But I enjoyed some of it.
But I missed the, you know, 2010, the, you know, original ones, such as the Neve Campbell times with, you know, we had with Wes Craven to make those.
Yeah.
But knowing,
rest in peace, Wes.
R.I.P. dude. And I hope one day, and I hope, you know, part 6 does well in part 2022, because as we know that we're at this age about, you know, toxic fandom thing.
Yeah.
Which I want something that's not so repetitive of part 4 we had. I mean, I get part 4 was about these kids want to get famous for being in a horrific massacre, but we want somebody else who's been doing this for a purpose, not just fame or toxic fandom. It's just about you did somebody wrong at the past.
Yeah.
And they know how to.
Which I'm curious about the new Scream. You don't have her in the movie, right? She's not supposed to be in the movie.
I don't know, dude, but the truth is, dude, is that it's owned by a different company when Paramount bought this.
So, yeah, I mean, it's something we gotta weigh. Again, I wasn't really a fan when it came to the Halloween sequel that just came out before this last one. To me, that movie
The only thing,
was a little dumb to me. I don't know what was kind of the point of that movie, but I did like the the one that came out before that one, but I wasn't a fan of what came after. I'm looking forward for this new one. We'll see. I mean, I'll just gonna watch it on Peacock the same way I seen the other one, just in case it's not a good movie.
you know what's interesting about part 4 of, you know what's interesting about Halloween Kills, dude, is that I like when Myers, just John Wick the entire fireman. It's like, damn, Michael Myers does not hold back, but apparently he John Wick everybody.
No, yeah, and it was a movie. Don't get me wrong. The beginning of that movie is it's amazing. Like the movie starts really good, but then the whole town story about the town going after him, and it was just like, I don't know. To me, that was just the lost me with all that, But we'll see. This new one, I think I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't really like that movie, so I'm pretty sure they were listening. We'll see if they're gonna fix that and trying to go back to what makes Halloween good.
You know what's interesting about the horror? You don't think what's interesting about Ninja Turtles? I wonder why is that NECA is releasing these Universal monsters of Ninja Turtles into that. And here I'm like this: if you're gonna make a toy line like that, why would you make a movie or something out of this? Because you can't just be releasing toys with combo with licensed characters for a reason.
Oh yeah, I mean the whole team Ninja Turtles thing is a little weird right now because it's like everybody is having a crossover with Ninja Turtles. I mean they have Ninja Turtles with Karate Kid, now they have Ninja Turtles with Street Fighter. It's like and then Stranger Things. It's like, okay, I think that's just Nickelodeon, going crazy with the license and just trying to milk the license just to make money out of anything based on Ninja Turtles, because as you may know, Ninja Turtle is big right now, all over again, and they just have comics and games and figures coming out, which I don't mind at all as a fan. But yeah, I mean, it's still right now. We're just waiting for movies when it comes to Ninja Turtle. That's just something that it has been a while, so we just gotta see. Hopefully, there are good movies. Even though the new movie was supposed to be animated, which I thought it was gonna be live action, but we'll see. We'll see what they do with that. Go ahead.
For the game, dude, I don't have any games. I don't have The Last of Us, but I'm planning to get one soon.
All right.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about The Last of Us games is that you notice how the PS5 version of the Part 1 is super detailed than the original one. I mean, Last of Us is still a good game, but still the PS5 is make it look so great that way.
Yeah. I mean, from what I've been seeing, it was a great remake. It looks like they worked the game, really well. The only thing that people were hating on, which they're not wrong, it was a remake that it came out too fast, because The Last of Us, the first one, was remastered just a couple of years ago. It wasn't really. They're not wrong, because I feel like that remake should have been probably down the road, maybe a little longer, maybe even for the next PlayStation. It was just a remake that just came out too soon.
I see what you mean. Oh, the only thing I wish the only game I wish they can give us is the Silent Hill movie book. Silent Hill games. I haven't heard any Silent Hill related since years ago, ever since 2014 cancellation.
There's been a lot of rumors for that for a couple of years now. The rumor is for Silent Hill is that there's not just one game coming. They're working on a couple of different games right now. Apparently one of them supposed to be a remake, I think, to Part 2. I don't know when they're not gonna remake Part 1, but I think Part 2 is getting a remake. That's the rumor. And whatever else they're making, we just don't know yet. but it's something that it hasn't. I think it was just confirmed the other day because of the company. They teased something for Silent Hill finally, but we're still waiting to be, for sure.
Okay. You ever watched the parody films of the Scary Movie 1, 2, and 3, and 4?
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about the first two is that they were by, the Marlon Wayans brothers. And what's interesting about, the first two is that they were funny, and plus at least they were just an idea about, still milking the ideal of the scream movies they had. They were still surfacing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just parodies, of movies, which is something that is rare, but if you have the right team making it, you can do a good one. You can make a good movie making fun of other movies. Like you said, the brothers were involved when it came to the first two, and that's why they're pretty much the only good ones. Out of the whole franchise when it comes to scary movie. It's just having the right team, knowing, it's about knowing what they're doing, and that's just the thing, So Hollywood sometimes make movies, it's like you can tell when there's filmmaking and when there's a movie that's made by studio, you can tell the difference. It's just you can tell how fake a movie can be when a studio makes it. It's like the problem with studio made movies is that they think they know their audience, but they don't know their audience.
Not to mention, dude, is sometimes you gotta feel like okay, you know how's the difference between movies from different studios? You have the Warner Brothers, the Netflix, the Amazon, the what else? Disney, the then you have Sony. I mean, you can totally tell the difference in the quality of what they give on the atmospheric of the settings.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, when you had back then in the 90s of horror movies, is that you had Dimension, aka that was run by Miramax back in the 90s. I mean, the thing I liked back then in the 90s and their horror movies is that if it had that good atmospheric of the settings and felt like this realistic, like the high schools were, I mean, you gotta admit, these high schools, I mean, you notice how the atmosphere back, the 90s where it had this good, atmosphere of being realistic, feels like, that the locations are there and the locations are real.
Yeah,
Versus
no green screen backgrounds
not this.
or digital cam. This is the thing. I'll tell you right now. I'm old school. I don't like digital cameras, to be honest, because it sure that makes the movie look clean, but a lot of times making a movie look too clean is it can be a problem, especially you know, especially when you're trying to tell storytelling. Especially if the movie is supposed to feel like raw or dirty. A digital camera is not gonna do that for you. You need film. You know, that's why I love horror movies from back in the day, mainly horror. 80s and 90s. They just feel raw. They feel dirty for that reason. And due to that, like you were saying, the atmosphere and all that stuff, it helps. The camera helps big time when it comes to all that.
Yep, and also this. It's not only that I like the camera quality at the 90s back in when horror movies, is that it felt like the atmosphere, like like oh, the settings, that gonna happen, or you're at this realistic school that
they were on real locations a lot of times. It wasn't just a set, and that's another problem too. A lot of times when they're trying to make a set, and they don't do a good job, you can see how fake, a house or a place can look, because it's fake. You can tell it's fake. It's not the same you go into a real location or going outside and film something there. The magic, you're gonna get all the magic you want when you do everything. It's more practical, if anything.
Yep, And the thing I like about for A24 when they make their horror movies is that they're trying to make the atmosphere like that, like The Witch. The thing I like about The Witch is that they made the set very historic accurate, historic, like make it the shed by they had to make they had to go to seasonal about how they get no filter but all color, but it's just natural coloring from the weather, like
Yeah,
depending on the
it
season.
was like natural light and all that, I believe, that they used for that movie.
Yeah, they use all natural colors, like they used fire, the real fire, to get the coloring there, and they used they were at the cold days of
and
the when it was.
and don't get me wrong, I love that, and but at the same time, with the right team, they don't need to do that, because I mean, of course it will look better if they do it, but at the same time, me finding out about behind the scenes for the movie Nope, I really thought they did that for Nope, and they didn't. That movie was like magic. The way they made that movie. A lot of those scenes that are night, they're not night. Like they filmed those scenes on daytime, or they even had for all the scenes they had like big lights on top of the house, and it was just stuff I had no idea. I was like, what the. I really thought that movie was filmed like at nighttime with with natural lights, from the moon and all that stuff. But no, I was completely wrong when I seen some behind the scenes for that movie.
Same. I thought this was all not at nighttime, but it turns out it's just daylight, or you can't tell at all. Also, what's interesting and what I like about Nope, dude, is that I like how Nope was just giving us this knowing about a plot twist that this is not a flying saucer they're aftering. It's actually a space whale.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, and I was like, when all those people got, eaten by the alien, I was like, tell me they're inside the beast, but they were inside the belly of the beast.
Yeah, no, it is, it's crazy. Spoiler alert, sorry for people that can see this video. But yeah, it was just something that when, it was the moment that the main character was like, yeah, that is not, that is not a ship, it's like, it's not a spaceship. It's like, okay, so what is it? That's when the movie got me all messed up. Like, wait, what is this thing supposed? Is that supposed to be a creature or a monster? And that was the case. Like, holy crap! I love that movie. I can't wait to get that movie.
And what's interesting, dude, is that I like how I use the idea about cameras. For example, they're using the modern camera, like they're trying to use the phone cameras, like the ones with flip phones, but then they're trying to use the modern cameras on an iPhone or an Android, but it failed. Both of them failed, but they were trying to get it from the security cameras, but failed miserably. But they had to use two old-fashioned ones, an original IMAX and the 1800s Edison.
The creature takes the energy off. So
yep.
any camera that's like digital, that's energy, so it doesn't work. So they need something that doesn't need energy to record. So they have to go old school. Again, this, you can tell. The director, he's coming up. Really, he's been doing great movies back to back, and you can tell he loves filmmaking. And I feel like this movie shows you that. It really shows you that he knows his stuff about filmmaking, and he's doing it. He's showing it, to the audience. I mean, this movie literally feels like an old school movie. If anything, it's like Jaws in a way. It just has so much magic. It's like a love letter to old school movies, and that's what I love. I felt like a little kid watching this movie all over again.
I was watching the Jaws.
It was like, sorry?
Yeah, it was like Jaws way, dude. It was like you seen they're obsessed with, they're trying to get the picture of the alien, but until they realize they have to find a way to kill the alien before
Yeah,
more
it's
innocents
it's
get
just
killed.
feel like it felt like filmmaking. You know, it's like
Mm-hmm.
you're back. You're back at the movies
Mm-hmm.
watching a real movie. That's just the way it felt. You know, I loved it. I was just like, finally, finally a great movie that feels like it's taking me back to what Hollywood used to be. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. We need to go back. Of course, not, it's a 50-50 when I say that, because, Hollywood used to be really bad also at the same time back in the day when it came to racism and all that stuff, which,
Yep.
we still have come a long way. Don't get me wrong, Hollywood still has a huge part on racism. So yeah, it's
Yep.
a 50-50, but I'm talking about we need to combine great filmmaking from back in the day and and get rid of the whole racism and all that stuff and
Yep.
put all that stuff together so we can really start making magic happen.
Okay. And you know what's interesting about Jordan Peele of those first three films? Okay, when you had him doing the Us and Get Out, it makes you think about, okay, back then, you know, you have curious about for the movie called Us. He'd be asking, where did these, doppelgangers came from, and how did they evenly knew their existence existed? Like, how did they evenly manage to get the faces right, or faces look like a carbon copy of you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'd be like, how long has this, doppelganging copycat has been? Because this has not been, because that is just a curiosity for me. And as for the Get Out, you'd be asking, who are the main, who are the main alphas to the, to this trial of who they can take the human brains to put their brains inside of a new human body?
Yeah, is those were still, again, it's movies that make you think. It's that's like filmmaking to me.
Yep.
It's something that, talking about this now, it kind of makes you think, what if you have Christopher Nolan making a horror movie? That is something that just came to mind because I don't really, he haven't really done a horror movie. I
Nah,
would
dude.
I would like to see him probably do something like that. I feel like that will be on his alley, to do something great when it comes to horror.
Not to mention, dude, sometimes science fiction can be horror too.
Yeah.
I mean, you can. I mean, Alien is a science fiction and horror at the same time.
Oh yeah, especially the first one, which that's the main one I like. Don't get me wrong. I know people love Aliens. I love Aliens also, part two. But Alien to me is the main one.
Yep, that's how I was introduced, because you'd be seeing about the chest burster happen, and it was horrific
Yeah,
moment to happen.
Alien is another movie that it's just it's filmmaking in that
Oh,
it's all about practical effects and all that stuff.
and you know what's interesting about the series called the '90s ones, is that I love the Goosebumps. They were the good series, and at least it was horrific. Also, the only good, and also another kid show that was during the 2000s was Courage the Cowardly Dog, because Courage the Cowardly Dog was just an amazing movie series that had, horrific moments and some scary moments. It makes you think about, is Courage the Cowardly Dog experiencing all these, real events that happen? Like, I know most of this are science fiction, but everything has been, but there was a thing about alien encounters with the middle of nowhere. The farmer and his wife were gone without a trace, but except the dog, he's the only witness they did that wasn't taken away or something.
Yeah, yeah, and again, that's like I said, that's just something to do with Hollywood and studios. When it's like they used to have the balls of making quality with not just movies but also cartoons and TV shows and all that, which is something that we still, I don't get me wrong, I still feel like we're kind of coming back slowly to that, but we still haven't hit that yet. We're doing it slowly, but hopefully, I think it was just a weird era for a while now, where Hollywood and all this stuff that we're just making again movies made by studios, or this we started getting all these weird cartoons. It was like, wow, what are these cartoons for? They're just making kids weird or dumb, with all these weird cartoons that they have been having for a while now. Cartoons back then in the 90s, especially, they used to have storytelling. It, it was just Spider-Man, the animated show, X-Men, Batman, all that stuff. It's like once you watch one episode, you want to see what's happening next, because everything was just to be continuous situation, and everything was connected to one another.
Not to mention, dude, at least it had, a better design and had better, better ways how to do explanation as a story, you said. Yeah. Like, for example, Spider-Man the animated series, it was connected to the X-Men series and some other Avengers shows.
Yeah, because you even have Daredevil showing up. You have Punisher showing up on that show.
Oh yeah.
It was just
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, exactly. It's Batman. You have Batman, and then between
Superman.
Batman, you have Superman. Then you have Justice League. Then you have Batman Beyond. You even have Static Shock. All that they were all connected.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's something that drives me nuts about Warner Brothers. It's like, you were doing this with the cartoon since the 90s. What took you guys so long to do that with movies? And why it's still taking you forever to try to have a connected universe? But again, I don't want to go there.
But also, dude, what's interesting about cartoons about 2016 is it feels like 2016 kind of dropped the ball with. Cartoon Network feels like they dropped the ball. Like, they gave us shitty remakes and shitty, art style. It's like, why the hell do we have to see the same, art style? Like, for example, how Clarence or Uncle Grandpa, those feels like they have the same, like the same small cuteness. And I'm like, dude, cartoon can have their own good ways, but this is just a little too.
Yeah, we started getting the same animation of like little bodies with big heads. It's like, why is everybody doing this? Just like, what happened to quality? When it came to all this.
Oh yeah, like how Powerpuff Girls, the 2016 version to 2019 one, that was like, as I saw, I was like, this is not my Powerpuff Girls. And and knowing that they're not the same voice cast, that makes it sadder.
I don't even remember that. They had a new version. I don't even remember that, to be honest.
But trust me, dude,
that makes it something I didn't really want to see.
You do not want to know what they did to the Powerpuff Girls, but you be like, what the hell happened? You did not want to know, dude.
Yeah, but so talking about horror, I guess we're talking about cartoon. We can talk about like gargoyles. You can kind of put that into horror in a way, or you as a human being, you're gonna be scared of freaking seeing a gargoyle, coming towards you and all that. They're huge, they're huge creatures and all that. So
it's interesting, dude. Back then in the 90s, there was Spawn the series.
Yes, yeah, that's a good one.
If you ask me,
which it was not for kids at all.
It wasn't, dude. But it's interesting how that's the same style of the Rugrats and the Duck series.
Yeah, I believe that was an HBO show, wasn't it? Because it wasn't for kids at all. I believe that was on HBO.
It was before. It was on HBO, yeah. And it's amazing how when Todd McFarlane made his shows like that, it's like, we need this kind of style of storytelling. And Todd knows how to make good storytelling and knows how to make shows that doesn't involve kiddie shows.
Yeah, go ahead. I still hear you. I'm fixing my camera real quick. You can go ahead.
Okay, and as that happened, dude, it's amazing how sometimes you be seeing about when Todd McFarlane says there's many stuff around, like a different, Spawn Dad, a different time period he was, a different version there is in the multiverse. And it's interesting to people who got mad at the new Wednesday series. I'm like, she is Latina because her dad is Puerto Rican and her mom is white.
Yeah.
And that makes her a mixed child.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how, I mean, don't tell me back then in the 90s you liked to watch The Addams Family, the original first two.
Yeah, the live action movies.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
And also,
they're and again, it's just something I feel I don't know why people are kind of mad about this new Wednesday show coming out. I feel like that was kind of closer to the source material, if anything.
also, dude, what's interesting about the Wednesday Addams is that it has Tim Burton, and that represents that we gonna get a good Addams Family adaptations, dude.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I would, I've always been a fan of Tim, and I want him to come back. I want him to come back and do his thing. I feel like I don't know. I feel like he has been getting a lot of hate with his past few movies, which I have seen, and I don't think they're not that bad. When it comes to some of those movies that people kind of hate, but it is what it is. Just hopefully he comes back, full force, and really, really comes back the way, the way he used to make movies.
It's the difference between Netflix, dude, is that Netflix is not like Disney, how he was, being controlled by
Yeah,
Disney.
you're not wrong with that. That's something that can help him. That's something that maybe we'll see. We'll see, the Tim Burton we know from the 90s and all that. Because don't get me wrong, Beetlejuice is still a movie that I love, and I still would like to see a sequel. I mean, I really feel like they can pull that off if they do another one now.
I think her version would. I think Ryder would have a daughter who's actually a emo or a goth at that time.
Yeah, if they're gonna make it work, and I mean, with Keaton, we know he's old, but he's makeup anyway, and the makeup that he will have on, they can make him look the same how he looked back then,
Oh yeah, and to mention, at least they can use CGI and some half practical effects there.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I don't know. That's the question now. You think they should make a movie continuing the story, or they should make a series on Netflix?
I don't know, dude, but I think maybe half and half, maybe a series there. Hell, funny. I mean, at least the series can make him have different saga explanation about, what's happening in this episode and where's that leading us to.
Yeah.
Also, at least Beetlejuice can have, what's it called? Has some wacky ass moments.
Yeah, for sure.
Imagine.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Imagine that Beetlejuice managed to fail one attempt, and later he's like, "What the heck?" Then apparently everything explodes in his face. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, and it's like talking right now about Beetlejuice. It's like, what other movie do you think should come back as a sequel, or a horror movie? Do you think any movie that haven't had a sequel like that when it comes to horror, or maybe a sequel like Halloween to kind of reboot the whole franchise?
Maybe they should do like an analogy of the Halloween, the Sam Hain time when John Carpenter wanted to make how American Horror Stories do, but different and graphicer.
Okay, all right. I still feel like the thing was, it's my favorite movie, as you may know, horror movie. I feel like they should do a sequel to that. Another one would be the Alien sequel that we were gonna get before, from
Disney bought it.
From the director of District 9, which I feel like he was the perfect person to make that sequel, because he knows the atmosphere of a movie. He knows how to show a movie to feel dirty and you know and old school and raw and all that. And I just feel like he will be the perfect person to make that. He was gonna be the same person that was gonna make a Halo movie, but they never given the money for that. But yeah, I really do feel like they should still go back to him because that's apparently that script and everything was done. That movie was ready to go. We're having some technical problems with this chat again. This is probably on me. I'm making this video after this Hurricane Ian is just passed by us in Florida. So maybe that's the reason why we're having difficulty. But yeah, anyways, anybody that's seen this, anybody already knows, I love Halloween season and all that. You guys should know by now that I started sharing digital copies just a couple days ago. I will continue doing that next week, hopefully. So yeah, just keep your eyes open because I'm gonna be, you know, sharing spooky digital copies through the whole month of October. Thank you, everyone, and have a good one.